In this lesson, we are going to take a look at how to work with viewports in AutoCAD. Currently, I have a drawing on screen that already has a viewport set up. This one was created automatically for me, and currently it doesn't show any of the view of my model space drawing. I can either keep this one and modify it, or delete it and create an entirely new one, whichever makes the most sense for you. I'm going to go ahead and edit this one. I'm going to start by selecting it and using its grips to resize it to fill my drawing area here. I'm also going to make sure that it's in the viewport layer. As you can see right now, it is in the 0 layer. I'm going to adjust that and put it into the viewports layer. The reason why it's important to put it into the viewports layer is because I don't actually want the viewport to print. If I go into my layer properties manager, I can see that viewports is set up as a non-printing layer. While it is possible to put it on its own layer and freeze that layer or turn it off, it's best to work with it as a non-printing layer because that way I can still select the viewport and modify it any way that I want. Next, I'm going to make the viewport active so that I can get into floating model space. I'm going to do this by double-clicking inside the viewport. As you can see, once I've done that, it has a bold border around it. I now get the view cube just inside this viewport. I have my UCS icon in the lower left, and notice that my AutoCAD crosshairs only show up inside this viewport now. Also notice down on the status bar, the paper button has turned into model. You can also use this to switch back and forth between model space and paper space as well. So here I'm back in paper space, and here I'm back in floating model space. Another way to get out of floating model space is to simply double-click anywhere outside the viewport. And once more, I can double-click inside to make it active. Next, I want my drawing to appear, so I'm going to perform a zoom extents by double-clicking my mouse wheel. And as you can see, the drawing is brought in now at whatever scale is necessary to fill this viewport. So the next thing that I want to do is select a specific scale. And we can do this down here in the status bar. Here's my scale drop down. I will select it and I'm going to go with a 1:8 scale. As you can see, the drawing resizes and is now the perfect scale. I can go ahead and pan it around if I want by pressing my mouse wheel and getting it in a spot that I like. I want to be careful though, because if I roll my mouse wheel and zoom in or out, I've changed the scale and I have to go back and readjust it. So for that reason, once you have the scale set and the view located where you want, it's a good idea to go ahead and lock your viewport. The lock button is down here next to the scale. I can just simply click on it and the viewport is locked. And you'll notice now when I roll my mouse wheel up and down to zoom or to pan, you will see that it zooms in and out on the entire paper rather than just inside the viewport. I'm going to go ahead and double click outside of the viewport to get back to paper space. And I'm going to switch to another tab and set this one up as well. This time I'm just going to delete the existing viewport and create a new one altogether. When you're on a paper space layout, the Layout tab appears in the ribbon. In the Layout Viewports panel of the Layout tab is the rectangular viewport tool. I'm going to select that and click 2 diagonal points just like I'm drawing a rectangle to create a viewport. I'm going to repeat the command to create one more viewport as well. Notice that these 2 viewports were brought in on the current layer, which in my case is border. I'm going to go ahead and select them both and put them into the viewports layer so that they will not print. Next, I'm going to set the views up. I'm going to double click in the first viewport here and adjust the scale to 1:10. Then I can pan to get it to fit nicely. Once I've got it where I want, I'm going to go ahead and hit the lock button to lock the viewport. I'll click in the second viewport. And for this one, I want to zoom in to the proposed shed area up top here. Then I will go ahead and set in a scale. I'm going to go with 1:4 on this one. Then once more, I'll pan to fit it, then lock my scale. And finally, I can double click out into the paper to get back to paper space. To recap, we can adjust the existing viewports or create new ones by going to the Layout tab and choosing the rectangular viewport tool. Create new viewports in the viewport layer so that they do not print. Double-click inside of them to get into floating model space and zoom to the appropriate scale and set the correct scale in the status bar, then lock it so that the scale does not change. That concludes this lesson on working with viewports in AutoCAD.